Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Survivor Series. Tonight's show, we're going to be dedicating it to the life and the memory of my dear friend Andrew Block. I'm going to be playing a song by him and showing some pictures of him and his family. So please just share this out. We have an amazing guest, Mac Mullings from KOKC Radio in Oklahoma City. Will be joining us. He's in the wings right now. So I'm going to start off the broadcast with the song by Andrew Block, Coming Home.
And the blood will rise underneath my name, and the wind will rise and fill my sail. So you can doubt and you can hate. I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home. Coming home, tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they're forgiving my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. From where I belong, but it's always dark before the dawn. So you can doubt and you can hate, but I know no matter what it takes, I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, I'm never giving my mistakes. I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. My kingdom awaits, never forgiving my mistakes. Coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Oops. Sorry about that, guys. That went on into some Snoop Dogg, but I wanted to be able to pay tribute to my dear friend Andrew Block. So thank you, Mac Mullings, for giving me the opportunity to do that.
Man.
So it's a very trying time right now. My prayers and my blessings go out to the Block family over their loss. That song was called "Coming Home," and he played every instrument on that track. He was an amazing and gifted young man. So much to live for. Such a tragic loss. But thank you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is. Hi everybody, we're back after multiple technical difficulties. We're back with you. We'll just give the audience a chance to catch up with us here. For everyone watching after the fact, I want to welcome everyone to the Survivor Series. The Survivor Series is an original product of NoMoreHeroin.org, and we showcase powerful and inspirational testimonies of people that have overcome seemingly insurmountable odds to have a life of purpose, to recapture and regain their positions in society, and are willing to share their testimonies of hope with us. So tonight, our guest is Mac Mullings from Oklahoma City. He is a radio personality. He has a new platform called Rise Above Radio. It's doing really well. You are an up and coming voice for recovery. You have a powerful testimony. You have a faith in a higher power that is evident in everything you talk about and what you do. And I'm so grateful to have you sharing your testimony and giving people out there hope, because as we all know, the death tolls are rising, and there's no sign of stopping anytime soon. And you and I are one and the same in a lot of areas of our life. We've been given multiple opportunities, and it's our time to make the most of our opportunities, give hope to other people. We have a program based in a 12-step fellowship. We don't. I'll say that I do not represent that fellowship, but I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Well, man, I'm honored to be a part of this too, man. It was funny. I was telling somebody just the other day, it's for a guy like me to be able to come out and talk about things like this, and actually, it's for an alcoholic like me, Higgy, this is a trip, dude. This is crazy for me to actually be on the other side of it. Accountability was a word that never really belonged on the same page as my name. And just like you, for the longest time, I totally ran from anything. So it's a trip, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man.
Well, again, thank you for being here. Take us on a trip down memory lane. What was it like growing up in your home?
Yeah.
Where you're from? Give us a little background.
I'm from Oklahoma City. I'm the youngest of five, man. Big family, great parents. I had an awesome relationship with them growing up and stuff. See, that's the thing too, is I came from a really good family. It's everybody always wants to kind of, they wonder what happened when you were growing up. Was it like your parents or whatever? No, man, I had a great upbringing. We never really wanted for anything. So my addiction, actually, my story kind of begins. I think the first time I remember actually having a drink of alcohol was maybe around the age of probably about 13 or so. And sort of that's when it all sort of kick-started, if you will. But it wasn't one of those things where it from then on became the problem. It was, you're a kid, you save your lunch money and stuff, your allowance, and then spend it on Milwaukee's Beast at the end of the week or something and drink with your friends. It's a rite of passage and something you get to do. But yeah, so that kind of started. That was probably the first time I remember having a drink and everything. But it wasn't. It became sort of. I never thought drinking was bad. You know what I mean? It was always kind of around, and it became a bonding element for the socializing and things like that. So I didn't know anything about addiction growing up. I didn't. It's the stigma. It's the stigma because you hear somebody is a drunk and you're like, oh my gosh, man, you don't want to do anything with that person. You don't want to have anything to do with them. Something is wrong. They are flawed.
We grew up in a different era.
Right.
The drugs were around and prevalent, but they weren't deadly as they are today.
Right. Right.
You know,
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I used to, thinking, I knew about people in high school. You know, I always made the joke about, the only people that wore patchouli in high school were the ones that smoked pot, and you knew they smoked pot because they smelled like patchouli and listened to Smashing Pumpkins record all day long. You know what I mean? But like that was about the craziest thing that I could really hear about people doing, and I'm going to totally, age myself here, and that's totally cool. But now it's mind-boggling to me what is available and what's happening, man. I mean,
Yes.
I remember one time a friend of mine offered me like a Valium, and I thought, oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. and the whole idea that the hypocritical attitude of an addict, because I would, look at people and go, why would you ever put something in your arm? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Go. Why would you ever take pills? That's ridiculous. And I would be drinking the same and doing the same exact thing, which is my poison was different.
Absolutely. We were looking for that escape,
Right.
and it was a social lubricant for myself. I grew up with that inferiority complex, and alcohol made me feel powerful.
Right.
It made me feel comfortable in my own skin. It was liquid courage, and it filled me up temporarily.
Yeah.
What I thought I needed to be a man,
Right.
to be a ladies' man, to be brave enough to you just speak up on anything in general. But there was something evidently broken in me from a very young age. Did you feel like that yourself?
Yeah, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about, I never felt adequate, and it's not because I lack for any kind of love in the house or anything like that, but just something in me lacked. I wasn't a good athlete, man, but I would play because my older brother played and stuff, or I would try to fit in all these different ways, but I didn't. I didn't ever feel like confidence wasn't something that was on the top of my radar. Always. Oh, and even playing sports or just socializing. Yeah. I mean, I've always been kind of a social butterfly, but man, you nailed it. When I would put a couple of cans of courage in me, off we go. I mean, I fit right in, and definitely the identity. I got in radio at a young age. I was 19 years old, man. I didn't finish high school. And I didn't make very good grades in school anyway. I wasn't a very studious young man. I joked one day and said my grade point average in high school was 0 point. What you doing this weekend? So that was about it. I mean, it was, and I always, I prided myself, to be quite honest, as like a ladies' man, dude. But I didn't, I was the kind of guy that would go burn my first paycheck on a pair of sneakers and stuff. And I just rolled with it. I didn't know who the hell I was, man. You know what I mean? We roll through life and then we turn around and go, I didn't have any clue who I was.
Well, for myself, I was different. I was a different person for different people.
Yeah.
Or whatever they needed from me, I was willing to step into that role because I had no identity of my own.
Right.
I had some, like I said, self-esteem issues growing up. I came from a dysfunctional family. You came from a good home.
Yeah.
And your father was military, wasn't he?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, he. My dad was a medic in Vietnam, 66 through 68. Man, he was in the first Cav out of Fort Hood, Texas, and out of Killeen, Texas, down to Fort Hood. But Pop, dude. You're gonna get me, bro. Damn it, Higgy. My dad was my hero, man. He loved in only a way that he knew how, man. Pop, I think I still have just about every card that he ever wrote me when I was a kid. There wasn't a time where where I'd ever get off the phone with my dad and he didn't say, did I ever tell you I was proud of you? And that was all through, a memory I have right now is, I totally sucked at football, dude. I wanted to be, what do you want to do? I want to be Steve Largent. Okay, catch this. And I realized that I had bricks for hands. Oh, damn, you got to catch the ball to be good.
Right.
But Pop never, he made me feel like Steve Largent, man. And he just was always an encouraging dad. Whatever you do, do the best. I don't care if you're a trash man. I don't care if you're doing this or that. Just do your best. And so my dad was the founder of the Oklahoma Veterans Memorial that's down by the state capitol here in Oklahoma City. And my dad passed away, man, the day after my 1 year of sobriety. So I know I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but my motto that I live by, dude, is peace in the pain. And I have to be that way because, especially with losing my dad, man, I was at a place down in Purcell, and they're all watching right now at a place called Rob's Ranch, man. Expect a
Give them a shout out. Give them a shout out, bro.
They got a bunch of champions down there, man. I launched Rise Above Radio about 3 weeks shy of my 1 year sobriety date, dude. I had one of the cats on the show, and they let me come down, and I got my 1 year coin from them at a men's meeting and everything. And it's a trip, Higgy, because I in the meeting I said, so we're turning a corner with my dad's health, man. I don't know what he was an old Vietnam vet. Pop really wasn't healthy growing up when I was a kid. He always, he had this old tired non-vet body and stuff, man. But he just so we had turned the corner, and anyway, man, I told the guys in the meeting, and here's the thing about recovery, okay? If anybody watching, if you get one thing out of this conversation, I want you to remember this, okay? I looked at all those 30 plus dudes in the room, and I said, I know that we've turned a corner in my dad's health, man. I don't know what that means, but I know for me as a person in active alcoholism, I hated feelings. I hated them unless I felt like king of the mountain. You know what I mean? But if you wanted to talk about sad, I would run as fast as I could from it. Grief, I didn't know how to grieve at all, man. So I told these cats in the meeting, I said, turn the corner with dad's health. I don't know how much time we have, but I can guarantee I'll make you one promise. One promise is that I'm not going to go run back to a bottle, man. I'm not going to drink again.
Amen.
And I didn't, man. And yeah, like the very next day, bro, he passed away, man. We lost dad he passed away in the bed. My family had been there with him and stuff, and they laid him down in bed. And so if you're gonna die, it was a very peaceful way to do it. But damn it, I was not ready, man. And it stings, bro. It stings. It sucks.
It does.
If I think about it too long, then you always have to make sure we're not in our own head. You know what I'm saying? Like if I think about it too long, then I know I can entertain thoughts of being sad or whatever. But he had Alzheimer's, and it wasn't to a point where he didn't remember any of us. It was more like short-term issues. But the cool thing, dude, is my dad got to see me sober, man.
Yes.
And I got to be the thing about recovery is we always try to, in active alcoholism, I always tried to be the center of attention, and I always tried to have things revolve around me and everything. But after my dad died, I got to be accountable for my mom when she lost her husband, man. I got to be there for my siblings when they lost their dad. And I got to be there for my granddaughter, or my daughter who's in the other room that's 7 that lost her Gampy, man. I got to be a man.
That's what's up. People need to hear that. Those are true blessings to our path of recovery. We get to redeem ourselves. It is attainable. We can have our family back in our lives. We can have careers. We can walk through pain and fear and suffering and still maintain, our composure.
Yeah, man. Amen. These last couple of years, man, have been really tough. Grief is one of the things I always ran from. When I was 19, I lost a best friend in a car accident, and I didn't know how to grieve, dude. We got drunk when he passed away. We all got together, got drunk, and we listened to sad songs and cried, and that's what we did. And I thought that's how you grieve. And then, but in 2016, I lost my grandma the day before Mother's Day, and she had fallen in January, so it took her a couple months, you know. And anyway, man, I showed up at the nursing home a couple of times drunk, and I didn't go in, and I drank to deal with it. And I would say, oh, well, she's lived a long life, she's ready, you know, and things like that, and all this bull crap that I tried to tell myself that. But anyway, I drank the morning of her funeral, dude. I spoke at the funeral. I drank the night of it, and I had no idea how to handle it. Now you fast forward almost a year later, and her husband joined her, and my grandpa passed away in the same room that she did, bro, with the bed, you know, in the same spot and everything. And what was different? What was different is I had 4 months of sobriety. By the grace of God, I ain't doing a damn thing. I'm just getting out of his way. But also, I got to hold his hand, dude. And I got to like whisper in his ear, and I got to tell the most God-loving Jesus, you know, like this dude he was a great man that you always hoped to be like, you know. And he's one of those guys that one of the fears that you would have is that he would give you $10 million worth of advice and you wouldn't take 10 cents of it, you know?
Right.
Like this is one of those guys. And so, anyway, man, there we are in this room, and it's a tragic moment because he's taking his last breath, but how good God is. I got to hold his hand, dude. I got to lean over in his ear and tell him, you are so important to me. You're so amazing. And I got to tell him, go on, man, go on and go here, you know, well done, my faithful servant, man. Get in there, get in the gates. And so that's the beauty of recovery, dude. That's peace in the pain. I had a kid one day roll his eyes and say how cheesy it was. I don't have any cheesy motto to say like peace in the pain or whatever, but and it ain't about a motto. It's about finding it here, about finding a new way to live, you know? I mean, it really, because if I had to been sober with my granddad, man, I would have been in bad shape. But I tell you what, Higgy, and everybody out there watching and listening or whatever, man, I would have been floored. I sure as heck wouldn't be here if I wasn't sober when my dad died, because we were in a bad spot. I mean, my sobriety date. So the last drink I had was 12/22/16. So December 22nd, 2016, and it kind of you know, I guess I'll just go ahead and jump into that if that's cool with you, man.
Yeah, well, I was gonna. Can you tell us about what your bottom looked like? You know.
Yeah. I had been so that whole year, man, lost my grandma in May, and then it was really didn't really know how to sort of face all those feelings and stuff, and life was just coming at me, dude. I was going through divorce and stuff with my daughter's mom, all that failure and everything, you know, these feelings of just all kinds of, you know, damn, dude, I was sad. I felt like so much shame and just fear. I didn't know what was going to happen next, you know, and like in moment of total transparency, man, a car was going to be repoed. My credit was going to crap. I couldn't even put a milkshake on layaway, for crying out loud. All these things were happening. And my answer was to go get drunk. So I had been drinking about 4 days in a row. And this particular time, and I knew it was bad because I wasn't eating at all like we do, man. And I was vomiting probably 5-6 times a day. I mean, the drinking was the last thing I did at night and the first thing I did in the morning. You know, we in our active addiction, we think we're pretty clever. Like I was putting vodka in coffee and stuff. Like nobody will know until I totally, until I puke it all up or whatever. But yeah, December 22nd, 2016 was a very, very bad day for me. It was a Thursday, bad day, but also a great day. And just steady drinking all day long, man. I mean, all day long. And you know, what's funny is I'll go to a store and see somebody buy I'll get 2 tall boys and that'll be it. Or I'll just get 4 of these cans of beer and that'll be it. And I used to do that thinking this is all I'll drink, even though I'll be back in an hour to get more. And so that's what I'd done. The liquor store was right down the street. So I would go back and drink. And I mean, at this point I was drinking the expensive vanilla extract my wife would buy because I knew there was alcohol in it. And I mean, I was drinking, I turned into a person I never thought I would be, man. I mean, I was chasing alcohol down and it hijacked when I had one drink in me, it just completely hijacked it. So,
it's a Jekyll and Hyde effect.
Oh, dude, unbelievable. Yeah. And so I started to isolate. I didn't answer any phone calls and I didn't really reply to any text messages. You know, I just pretty much
Isolated away from everybody and everything.
yeah. And I had never done that before. I'd battled depression, and always, you know, what will happen when I die, and kind of things like that. You know what I mean? I'd get really hammered and then think about, like, what if I died in this incident? What if I died here or there, whatever. And so this is honestly the first time that, like, these, you know, it wasn't an audible sound, but this is when my brain started to entertain the ideas of ending it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so the place that I was living at the time was in a gated community, but we had a pond in our backyard. And so I would go out there and burn one. I'd go out there and smoke and stuff, but I would look at the backyard, and they had just broken up like a retaining wall. So there was some concrete and some bricks and stuff on the side of this pond. And so the more and more I drank, the further down in depression I got. And at this point in my life, I was completely void of any kind of spiritual walk, man. I was spiritual bankruptcy completely.
Absolutely.
And so the idea, very unorthodox thing, an unexpected thought was, why don't you grab some of that? Why don't you get drunk enough and walk into that pond and grab some rocks or whatever it is to try to weight yourself down, and then don't come up? Sort of like a Jeff Buckley thing I had in mind. Just walk in and then don't come out. And so, you know, man, it became real, dude. And the way I explained it to someone is, it's like a horse racing at a track. You know, they put blinders on them, right? So they can only focus on what's ahead.
Right.
Where my thoughts were going, man. It was just completely right down the idea was the path to do this whole thing. And, but you know, what's funny about this moment is that, or this whole night, is that I go inside, bro, and I'm still doing my thing. And the thought was that, well, I have a tent and I'll buy a bunch of booze. I got a tent. I live by a lake. So I'll go, you know, put the tent up and drink, and then do it at the lake, just stumble in somehow. And then I thought, you know what? I've been drinking. I shouldn't drive. The responsible drunk. That's what I was. So anyway, man, the idea was there about doing this in that pond. And I wish I could tell you what moment it was specifically, or what picture I looked at of my daughter, or what it was. But I think I had texted my mom, and she said, you need to call for help. And so some people think I'm crazy because they took me, but I called 911. And I told these guys, I'm not hostile, I'm not aggressive or anything. I'm just not right. And so these two cops came over to the house and talked to me about everything, man. And I don't think they'd ever been in a call like this before, because I was just, you had to peel me off my couch, man. I mean, and I wasn't drunk. I was beyond drunk. I was kind of just vacant.
Right. Absolutely. But thank God you had the ability to reach out and let people know where you were, even as horrendous as that bottom was. That moment that you reached out and let people know that you weren't right, set you on the path to where you are right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean,
it takes courage. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness; it's a sign of strength.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, all my life, man, I wanted to be. I felt like if I join the military, man, I'll feel like a man. You know, we talked on that man thing, you know, and or if I was good at sports, man, I would really fit in. If I was good at this and that and the other thing, this and that. But I honestly, the most manly, masculine, whatever it is, I think the thing I've done in my life that made me feel like a man, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is when I finally surrendered and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. Because the easy thing is getting drunk. We know that. The easy thing is going down the street and getting more booze. I can do that. But the hard part.
It's the easier, softer way we're always looking for.
Yeah.
What gives us the most comfort in the beginning causes us the most pain in the end.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Absolutely. And so these guys took me to a hospital here in Oklahoma City, and I detoxed. I was there for like 9 hours. I have no idea what my alcohol level was, because they checked it like 4 or 5 times. And so at some point I did something where they did not favor. So they took me out of this room this ER room, you know, with the bed and whatnot. And then I was given like a blanket and then told to kind of rack out on this plastic couch. And so cold room, plastic couch. Still, what's happening? Maybe I started to sober up just a touch, but I was like, well, I don't know what's going on. And man, they brought me a lunch. It was a dry sandwich or whatever in a cardboard box, right? Like in a local, like a just lunch meat and bread.
Right,
and,
like jail sandwich.
Exactly, man. And so the thought of quite honestly, hey jackass, you need to take this moment, you need to learn from this, because either what you're looking down at is probably the kind of stuff you would eat if you were incarcerated.
Sure.
And it was like, that's where you're heading if you don't figure it out, because you'll either be, you know, in jail or you'll be dead.
Sure.
And now sort of everything was kind of moving in me, and there was definitely a spiritual warfare, without a doubt, man. There was definitely a struggle. You know, prior to this, I'd go to church but I would talk the talk, but I wouldn't walk it. No, not at all, man. I had like all these books. We buy all these books, but we don't read any of them, right? We pay down the 20, 25 bucks to buy a book. Yeah, self-help. I'll be a man of Christ. You know, like I never even read it. It collected dirt, dust. And so, and it wasn't like this, you know, weekend retreat, or I didn't walk through like this, archaeological biblical site or whatever, these different things, man. It was just in a dark waiting room at a hospital, where I really did feel an encounter with my higher power, man, like at that very moment. And everything changed. And then it was the surrender, because then I didn't care what happened next. I just, as long as I followed and kind of asked for direction, you know, that's the thing, is we don't have to figure it all out. Hell, you'll never hear me say I've got to figure it out. If I do that, I'm in trouble, man. I know that. No. Right. And so I just, then was the surrender. Like, I'll just follow whatever lead is next, man. This cop took me to, I thought I was going to go to this one unit or inpatient, but he actually took me to the adult mental unit. And so, again, I didn't really know what was going on. And I didn't ask a lot of questions, man. I just kind of, you know, I talk for a living. I've been in radio for almost 20 years. When I was a kid, my dad would say, King's X, hold on a second, stop talking, time out, you know? And now I just learned to shut up. I just had to be quiet, be still, man. And just, you know, I wasn't treated like an idiot. I wasn't treated like some broken, flawed individual, but I was just completely surrendered. Like, whatever you need from me, you know, is fine. And I got back to this, you know, it's the adult mental, man. So there's a waiting area. You sit again on the plastic. Never in my entire life had been like this before, but it was, you know, the community area, sitting on plastic furniture again, watching a Thunder basketball game. Thunder up, son. And and so my mom came to see me that night, dude. This was a Friday, December 23rd, right? 2016. Mom came to see me, and she brought me a prayer book, man. And one of my best friends came with her. And so this prayer book, I didn't read it front to back, and I didn't, you know, but all I did, bro, is I thumbed through it, and everything that was in red, I read it, everything that was red. And so I, later on that night, man, I was pretty scared to go to bed. Honestly, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't think I'd be able to sleep. I'm the kind of guy, I don't camp out. Like, it wasn't, you know, I just was like, how is this going to go? And so I kind of just clutched that prayer book like it was my favorite blanket, man. And I just had an open heart the whole time. Even if I was sleeping, I just said, do something, please do something. And God likes to show off when we let him. You know, he's proud of us. We think we're pieces of crap, but he's proud of us.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And here's a great thing, right? I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in it at all. I believe in God winks and things like that, right? And up until this point, I'd never actually lived by like really following that like theory on it all. I just thought, well, like, that's interesting how that happens. Okay, so this is Christmas Eve, right? Saturday morning, Christmas Eve. I was gonna have my daughter, my fiance and I were gonna have the daughter. And so if I could really put a screw in everything and kind of like, you know, foobar it up really bad, this was pretty it. Your boy, I was an overachiever, man. Like, let's do it on Christmas weekend.
I'm that guy.
You're right. Oh man, yeah. Like if you want me to go hang out with you and we're drinking and stuff, first of all, we don't do happy hour. We do happy hours. We might burn some shit down.
Hours.
and then also, like we'll have to go make a couple of beer runs. Like we just try to overachieve, man. That's all we do. And so, anyway, man, I was told you won't be able to leave until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. The head psychiatrist that's supposed to be in actually took the weekend off, and so you need to talk to him. And so I kind of was trying to accept the fact that I wasn't going to get out, man. I wasn't going to get out for Christmas, and I wasn't going to see my daughter, and oh my gosh, man. And so it's Saturday morning, bro. I wake up. They called on the PA to do medication and everything, and I just sat there, dude, on the corner of the bed, Higgy, and I said, I know you're real. I know you're there, and I'm sorry about, you know. I said, I'm sorry about where I've gotten this here. And I said, but I have decided I'm going to love you back. You know, I know you love me because I'm here for a reason, but I decided I'm going to, you know, you've been looking down at me the whole time, but I was looking down into a bottle. I'm going to look back and I'm going to love you back. And so, and then I said, if there's any way that the medication, you know, I was like, I don't know what they're giving me, but if there's a way that you can make it not so strong, if I can just talk to someone, man. And I, you know, don't let me trip over my tongue, but I'm not going to try to talk my way out of it. I'm not going to I just want to know what's next. And so, so that's, again, God said, check this out. And so I go and I sit in this area, man, I get the medication. And then I hear this lady come and say, she's behind me, but she says, hey, I didn't think you were supposed to be here. And so the head psychiatrist goes, yeah, well, there was a last second thing. I decided to let so-and-so off. So here's this guy that I wasn't supposed to see for 3 or 4 days later that has the ability to let me go. And so he talks to everybody there and he comes to me and says, we have a back, you know, let's go chat. And so I go into this room and, you know, I've got a drinking problem, man. I don't know what the definition of an alcoholic is, but that's me probably. And so we chat and he called my fiance to actually verify that I had a place to live and all this different stuff, man. And I was discharged, bro. And we went and picked up my daughter. We drove to Tulsa to see my now in-laws. And I haven't had a drop of alcohol since, dude. And again, I'm not doing a thing about it. I'm just trying to live in a different way than I used to.
It's working. It's working. You can see the peace and serenity in your face, the way you present yourself. You're grateful and you're humble. You know, you've come a long ways from where you were 2 years ago.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, man. And I heard somebody say, if I had a magic button, I wouldn't give you, you know, and I could grant you recovery, I wouldn't just click it and let you have it. You know, and then you think, wow, that's really kind of a messed up way to say things. You know, why wouldn't you do that? And because I don't want to cheat you out of the journey, man. I don't want to cheat you out of it.
That's right.
And you know, I mean, for the longest time, I felt like I was doing it wrong. I was doing something wrong. And I had so much anxiety lived in me. And I felt like I felt like I had a tightrope relationship with God. And I felt like things at work would go great as far as radio. And I lived in Los Angeles and I was on the air there for a little bit. But anyway, all these different things that really don't matter because I had so much of struggle inside. But something would happen and then I would fall, you know, stumble. So here we are on this tightrope. God loves me. Things are good. You screwed up again. Let's start it back over. Right. And I just had to learn, man, I don't have to be qualified. That was already done when I was in my mother's womb, man. That was already done.
Good stuff, man. So with your show, Rise Above Radio.
Yeah.
Tell us what the mission with your show is. What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, well, man, I'm hoping to actually just do what you and I are doing right here, man, and just sharing the stories and stuff. And like I always say, you know, I could have a revolving door of people in lab coats with all these, you know, initials and letters by their name and stuff, man. But I truly, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that anybody can really relate to an addict like another one, man. I don't think that.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something about it, dude. And the show actually, so about 5 months of sobriety, the idea of the show came around. I always try to kick around things, but I was pretty good at always rushing things. So again, just trying to learn, be quiet. And so I kind of was just asking for constant direction with it. And man, when it launched, it was sort of just talking about recovery in Oklahoma and Oklahoma City and stuff. And again, because my wife's over there, but I always used to say my radio career was playing hits and hitting on chicks, man. I didn't ever think I'd be doing talk radio, but I never thought I would be talking about how I couldn't stop drinking. And I was the epitome of an alcoholic, man. And I never believed I was self-centered, and I never believed it. It's just funny what we really get transparent with ourselves, man. And I'd go to a meeting and think about, what am I going to say next when they call on me? Ooh, when's my part? When do I get to talk? And then it's like, dude, shut up and listen.
Absolutely.
So the show is really all about people just sharing stories, man. It started with alcohol, but we've had Bonnie says the show's pretty amazing. Thank you, Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie called in from Alaska, dude. She floored me. She got wind of the show somewhere, but
Bonnie is amazing.
Yeah, dude. But it's the funnest thing I've ever done in radio, man. And I hope it never.
Alaska.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I hope it never changes. But honestly, my prayer about the show is that, keep me from being self-seeking or anything like that. And if I ever get that way, then take it away. Have somebody else do it, or don't let me have it. Because really, man, it's just a place for people to call and share stories. And I've had Oklahoma eating disorders on before. So we just talk about all kinds of stuff, man. And I'm always, looking for people to come on and share, man. It's a great thing. I love it. To blast, man. It's God's show, though. It's not mine. It's God's.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I do with this. I'm hoping to be in a position where I can, I can help get some help with my broadcasting skills and the technical issues and whatnot. But we need these testimonies, these stories, whatever you want to call them, of overcoming, because I remember being that guy locked in my apartment by myself with the windows drawn, locked doors, feeling there was no way out. I had no choice but to drink and get high.
Right. Yeah.
And just to feel any kind of way at all. And I just didn't know a better way until I was introduced to recovery. I was forced into recovery, but once I experienced it, and I felt the love of the fellowship and the positive support that I got from other people, I found out that I wasn't the only messed up person in the world that had all this baggage that was dragging me down and killing me from the inside out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just think about the upbringing, because then that's a lot of guilt too, man. We're in the middle of, for me, one thing is that the shame is because I don't know why, like my family, I'm giving them a bad name and I'm not representing right. And why is the black sheep and all this stuff? And man, when we let fear and anxiety and sadness and all those things in, dude, I mean,
yes,
it's the recipe for disaster. And I was gladly holding out. Like, you want some more? Put this in here. Right.
Cocktail, and that the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde effect is a very real thing, because when you put drugs in me, I change. My appearance changes. My motives, my intentions. I am not a nice person. Who you see before you today is my genuine self. But if you put drugs in me, different person altogether.
Right. You know what's crazy?
Evil spirit. That doorway opens up, and it's just I get consumed.
Yeah. I went through something in the summer of 2016 that.
Thanks, Johnny.
I had a severe concussion, man, and I missed about 2 weeks of work, and it was in August of 2016, and that was actually I wasn't able to hold down a gig or anything since then. But my wife would tell you, every time I drank, man, after that I was very just depressed, sad, whatever. And prior to that, I was like, dude, me and Higgy, we're gonna chill and I'll buy you around all night. But it just something in my brain changed, and then I was prescribed pain medication. So then off we go with that, dude. And I was drinking on that, and then it was just one after the other.
it's a toxic cocktail, you know, and it just separates us further away from the Spirit. And when we're separated from the Spirit, we're separated from everybody else in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I did the foreword for a buddy of mine's book, man. There's a guy named Matt Whittington, and I want to plug him real fast if that's cool, man. He has a book called Forgiven, and you can get it on Amazon and everything right now. But Matt's story is incredible, dude. He was raised by an alcoholic mother, and he had so much resentment and just anger and frustration because she never quit, and unfortunately she passed away, and it was, you know, complications of drinking and stuff like that. It all kind of caught up with her. And so Matt, again, Rise Above Radio is God's show, dude. And so, but Matt was on with me one time, and he was inspired to reach out to some other people that were on the show, and he challenged himself and he stepped out of his comfort zone, took a chance on faith, and really learned what addiction was, and how to forgive himself, but forgive his mom too. So the book Forgiven, it's a beautiful thing. But anyway, I wrote the foreword to it. I was blessed. He asked me to do it. But in the foreword, I talk about how, you know, losing jobs and relationships and stuff, man. I mean, I was canned in January of 2016. Again, bro, overachiever. I got canned the day before my 36th birthday, man. Yeah, your boy went out to a Madonna concert, right? Hey, listen, she wanted to. Happy wife, happy life, right? And so anyway, man, and I stayed out late and did what I always did, and I got canned, and that was in January. And then I come down to Oklahoma City and I work, and then, you know, wherever we go, there we are. And so I got fired again because I drank like a fish, and I wasn't responsible. I wasn't accountable. I didn't. And it's even, you know, big family, which means you have big family gatherings and stuff. And yeah, it's the nephew's birthday party, but I'll go and let me drink before. And then what time is it?
Any occasion, National Potato Day.
Yes,
we're
right.
We're partying.
Dude, I got hammered one time watching like soccer, you know, World Cup soccer, or March Madness. Here we are on the cusp of March Madness, and I can't dribble a basketball to save my life, but it's like, let's go get hammered and watch basketball. Do you have a bracket? No, but I'll have a beer. I mean, dude. And I couldn't keep a date book. I couldn't keep a calendar. I couldn't remember when your birthday is or whatever else it is. And I'm so busy, I don't have time. But man, I could find time to go drink. I could find time to get to the bar.
But I know that feeling very, very well. Clean and sober is better.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Life still comes. You know, I had posted a video the other day about, and you and I think talked about it, but I went and watched the sunrise with my dad. You know, I know he ain't there. That's just where we laid him. But he's, you know, at Rest Haven Cemetery here in Oklahoma City, but my grandparents are there. And anyway, man, you know, it's that peace in the pain, dude. It's hard. I miss my dad like crazy. You know, my mom has always been sort of the rock in our family, and mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer last summer. And she's a fighter. But, you know, I can't sit there and be like, oh, well, I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable because the codependency in me will just eat my lunch if I let it. I can't help mom. I need a drink. I can't help so-and-so. I need to drink. And man, it was very different going to see my dad and actually kind of relaxing and enjoying the time there because, you know, 2 years earlier or whatever, I was at a buddy's graveside drinking gin out of a protein shaker, listening to sad songs. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a way better way of life.
Torturing ourselves.
Yeah. But I wouldn't trade it, man. It's a great thing. You know, February 23rd of 2018, my wife and I went to the doctor, went to an appointment. We have a daughter. She'll be 5 months old on the 10th of this month. But
she's a beauty. She's a beauty.
I told her she's going to have to come in before we cut loose and stuff, man. But anyway, dude, so my dad died. Dad passed away December 23rd of 2017, man. It was 2 days before Christmas, 2 days before what would have been his 72nd birthday. And it was the day after my 1 year sobriety, right? So we keep trucking, eyes forward, 1 foot in front of the other, man. Stay in constant contact with my higher power, see what I could do to help others. And so by the grace of God here, you know, like he says in Amazing Grace, he saved a wretch like me, man. Here I am. So we fast forward, and on February 23rd, we are going to the appointment to hear the baby's heartbeat, right? For the first time. And so I'm brushing my teeth and I look over at my wife and I said, you know, my dad's heart stopped beating 2 months ago. But I said, in 20 minutes from now, we're going to go hear the beat of whatever that little human is that we're making in there.
That's right.
And it's just being, it's a mindset, man. I mean, if you're listening right now and you're watching, or you don't have to know all the scriptures, man. You don't have to know where the books in the Bible are. You don't have to know who this person or who that person was or whatever. You just have to open your heart and say, please, please touch me in whatever way that means to you. My, you know, the encounter with me isn't the same as you, Higgy, right? I mean, it's totally different, but you just have to be open for it, man. And you have to be willing and surrender. You know, you might think it's a sign of weakness, but brother, you nailed it when you said it's the sweetest victory there is.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So you want to bring, well, two things. I would love to see your daughter on camera,
okay.
your little girl. And if you want to give a shout out to the guys at the home that you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I have this hat, Pello Outreach. So Joe Pello gave me this hat, dude. He's got an incredible story too, man. But Jim Riley Outreach, and man, you know, that's the thing too, Higgy, is, you know, recovery is not a community I ever thought I'd be a part of, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. You know, I used to think, my guys, these are my guys. I'll go to the bar and they'll make sure my glass is never empty. And these guys really have my best interest in mind. These guys I meet, like yourself and all these other champs in recovery, dude, that's where it's at. These are the relationships that really matter. Because at the end of the day, who's going to have your back and stuff? Those cats I used to drink with,
No.
where were your buddies when you used to drink and drug? Where were they at when you started to get clean and sober?
It disappeared.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, Rob's Ranch down in Purcell, man, amazing place. They're all actually watching right now, dude, which is mind-boggling, but it's that place. They say expect a miracle, and they do, man. Anyway, brother, I'm full of gratitude, man. I have been all day long. I'm an emotional guy anyway, and
I am as well.
And I just have a heart full of joy, and it's not, you know, sadness and despair and fear and resentment and guilt, all these different things that used to pump the blood through my body. Now it's just joy and optimism and love, dude, and gratitude, man. So
That's what it's all about, for sure.
yeah. You want me to get the little ankle biter?
I would love to see her before we close. No, that's truly a blessing of recovery right there. The promises. That's what we're talking about. Anybody that doesn't believe the promises come true, you're about to see proof. Thank you, everybody, for being here, even through all the technical difficulties and jumping back and forth.
All right.
Check this out.
First we have McKenna.
Hi.
This is McKenna. We call her Bean. She's 7. And man,
she just took a shower for the first time.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
First time.
Is my little sister.
here's Amelia.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
We know each other.
Yeah.
We know each other very well.
And
You have a beautiful family.
thank you, brother.
You know
Thank
that?
you, man.
You know that?
All right.
Come on,
Thank
sister.
you, man. Yeah.
True blessings of recovery.
No. Go on. Yeah. That's what keeps me going, dude. For them, you know, I used to live what's fortunate for me, but it's for them.
They absolutely deserve you to be the very best version of yourself that you can be, and you're doing it today.
Well, thank you, bro. Thank you, man.
You're being an amazing stand-up role model type of guy. That's in your community. In all communities, we need men to stand up and speak out and share your testimonies and give other people hope that are at the bottom of the bottom, because we came from the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel of life to be where we are today.
Right. Yes, sir.
The fact that I can even put words together and form sentences after the damage I've done to myself, it's just it's amazing. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to spend this time with you. and I really am grateful that we finally got it together.
Yeah, man.
I would love to have you back on again sometime.
Oh, I'd love to, man. I'd love to. And I want to say something to you, brother. You and I have never met face to face or anything, but I want to tell you something. I used to, losing my buddy when we were 19 and everything, I used to think I'm going to try to live the way he would want to. So yeah, I'll go to the concert and I'll go backstage and I'll do this and do that and stuff. And it was not honoring anybody at all. So I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
You're a champion, dude. And what you're doing right now with this show and everything, man, you're honoring that guy and all the others, man. And God bless you, dude.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Well, any words of encouragement for someone out there that's on the fence, maybe contemplating a relapse or just contemplating a different way to live?
Yeah, man. As cliche as it'll sound, but community is everything, man. Being plugged in with like-minded people like yourself and everybody else. I mean, you need somebody who's going to call you out, but you got to be transparent too. You really got to be honest about it, because I used to really hide all those things and stuff. And one of my favorite things about recovery now, dude, is being honest and really kind of figure out how I feel, man. I didn't know who I was, dude. I mean, I didn't know how, if you would ask me about, who's Mac? And I would say, oh, I work in radio, that I do this show and I do that show, whatever. You're like, no, that's what you do. But who are you? Who are you? And just get real and transparent, plug yourself into a program, reach out to anybody, dude. You can, on your page, No More Heroin, there's all the links and stuff. My info's there. Reach out to me, reach out to Higgy. And just, and learn to love yourself too. That's the thing. It's totally a different way, because in addiction, I love myself, but now in a different way, it's love yourself to where you don't have to drink and you don't have to drug, and take it easy, man. That's
right. Take it easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. And that's what it is. Just learning it's a different way of life, but man, it is so much better than you could ever imagine. I mean, it's even it's a better way. Like this last week, man, I was hoping to get something and it was like for a recognition here in the state of Oklahoma. And so I didn't make the list, and I was kind of bummed about it at first. And so, man, the first thing I did is I sat back and said, why am I disappointed? What is it that makes me disappointed about this? And it wasn't for the self-recognition. It was because it was going to be for Rise Above, and I wanted recovery to get the attention that it needs. But, the great thing is, after I get the news that I didn't make the list, you and I have a conversation, and then off we go.
That's right.
Yeah.
As long as we stay clean and sober, we can do and be anything that we want.
This is true, man.
And we're always, and as long as we're in that frame of mind, anything's possible. There's always going to be another opportunity.
Yeah.
There's always going to be another person that needs to hear our story. So we just keep doing what we do. We keep grinding.
Right. We do, man. And all the things that, you can't, I used to have to feel like I can't fix anything. I'm just buried in all these different problems. Well, let me tell you something. Nothing's going to get fixed if you keep drinking and you keep drugging. It's going to get worse. Guaranteed. I mean, we say, locked up, sobered up, or covered up, man. That is the truth. Nothing will get better if you keep on drinking and drugging. And you don't got to live that way, man. You don't have to. You don't got to do it anymore.
How powerful is that statement when you think about it? You don't have to live like that no more.
It's mind-boggling, man. Before you and I did this tonight, I promised the 7-year-old I would go take her run some errands and all that. So, and we stopped at an on-cue, and I aired up. Listen to this, dude. I aired up the tires of my wife's car. I got gas in her car. You know what I mean? As opposed to just being a self-centered jackass, I started doing stuff. And so anyway, we go inside, and I still walk by and see all the beer and all the coolers. And they changed the liquor laws here in Oklahoma, which I'm not a fan of. Don't get me started. But you can get it on the weekends, and you can get all this different stuff. For guys like you and I, that's not good. and I say it on the afternoon show that I co-host on KOKC here in Oklahoma City. It's not good because, you know, you got a little carton thing at the at a pharmacy at the Walgreens. I'm going to get cough medicine for my kid, and then I see a thing that's got like, oh, it's 3 glasses of wine in one. Right on, I'll have that thing finished before I get to the traffic light. And so anyway, I still look at the beer cooler and I see it in there, bro, but I don't, you know, I don't need it, man, and it's great. It's liberating.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
Yeah.
That will destroy any sense of peace, tranquility, and gratefulness that you have in your life. And you have so much. We just seen all the evidence there that anybody would ever need to see, that you have the perfect life and family.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man.
That's beautiful, beautiful testimony all by itself. To see you all together.
Hey, if anybody in Oklahoma City, I want to plug this really fast too. So the monument that my dad found at Oklahoma Veterans Memorial is over by the state capitol, man. We're going to be at the Capitol tomorrow at 4:00. Big Jim. Dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, that guy is lights out.
Yeah.
So we will be,
dude.
Oh man. We will be at the Capitol tomorrow. My co-host and I are going to be broadcasting live doing the afternoon show from 3 to 6 on KOKC. The page is KOKC Radio. We'll do Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But also on May 25th at the and these are the things that recovery does, dude. I didn't do a damn thing to make this happen, but I interviewed this place called Carry the Load, and they do through a multi-state kind of a walk, carry the load, like, you know, soldiers carried stuff for us kind of thing. And so anyway, they're stopping. There's going to be a rally on May 25th at the monument. I'll have more details on that, dude, but it's at the place that my old man was the founder of, dude. And it would just mean a lot if everybody could get out there. So
that's amazing. So where can we tune in? I'm sure Big Jim will be broadcasting from the.
Oh yeah, dude, man, that guy's something else, bro.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Yeah. We were texting back and forth, and, you know, what's funny is as much energy and time that we put into finding our booze or to finding our drugs or our fix or whatever it was. And I don't even care if it's, you know, finding the way to get to the casino to pump in that last quarter that you own and that, you know, when you know it's a problem. But anyway, that guy's on fire for recovery, dude. And you talk about somebody putting as much effort into getting hammered as he is to making things happen. That's it right there. Like guys like you and Big Jim, dude. So we'll be, it's KOKC Radio is the Facebook page. If you're in Oklahoma City, it's 95.3 FM. And then we're on iHeart Radio and all that stuff, dude. But yeah, we're trying to make some things happen. Oklahoma here, they're trying to really do criminal justice reform. And my passion really is to start getting plugged in with the drug courts and stuff, man. You know, a good friend of mine says addiction is a modern day leprosy. And I believe that. And the hypocrisy's got to stop, dude. I mean, you know, you hear about people, why can't Higgy, why can't Mac get their shit together? Why can't they stop drinking as the person's, you know, doing the finger stir on their third martini of the night? It's got to stop, man. Addicted people, an addict is not a flawed individual, man. It is a disease, and it's the only disease that will ever try to convince you that you don't have a disease.
That's right. That's right. It has to be self-diagnosed. You have to be in a state of surrender. And willing to address, you know, and just walk through. And we are so seized up with fear in the beginning and guilt, shame, and remorse. You know, but there is a way out of that. You know, there is a process to this, and there's people that have come before us that show us how to do this. So
yeah, I think you know, you say that shame and guilt and everything. Like I had to break up with alcohol, so then there we go again with the grief because I had to break up with it. Mm-hmm. But just a note of encouragement for someone. Don't let the feelings intimidate you and don't let them make you anxious, you know, like try to find out and talk about what you're feeling. Cause I never thought I'd have to mourn my relationship with alcohol. Like, what is this? And that's what it was, dude. I was, you know, something that always there when I thought I needed it, you know what I mean? But so recognize the feelings, ask about it, get help, but don't be intimidated by it, man. Just have an open heart and ask your higher power to come and to give you direction. And you know, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to try to get it all figured out, man. I had to learn to take it easy. Take it easy.
One day, moment at a time. It quit work ago. So why keep beating ourselves up. It
Right.
doesn't work anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. Amen, brother. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, dude.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you, man.
I'll talk. Well, we will talk again soon. I'm looking forward to seeing the broadcast with you and Big Jim.
Yeah,
Love
man.
Jim Downs. Love Big Jim. Good man. Good man of God.
He's a rock star. And my Facebook page is on here, man. It's public, just so people can reach out and get a hold of me. If they want to be on Rise Above Radio, man, they're more than welcome to. Higgy, I know you're going to come on.
Yes, sir.
But also, if somebody wants to shoot an email, it's all anonymous there. If they say, hey, man, I need help. That's what's in it, dude. We lived in such this what's in it for me world on my birthday, bro, really fast, man. You're getting me fired up about recovery, man. I love it. But on my 39th birthday, man, I got 2 emails back to back from people that I don't really know. But God had it on their heart to contact and say, I've got this person I know that needs help, yada, yada. And then when they looked on Facebook, you only know it's somebody's birthday on Facebook. They said, I'm sorry to bother you on your birthday. And I said, man, this is the best birthday gift I could get. Because you have confidence in me that you can ask me. I mean, dude, are you kidding? What a blessing that was to be looked at, to where somebody could reach out about something, because it ain't a game. It ain't a game. And unfortunately, you recently just were reminded that it's not a game.
Absolutely. Thank you guys, everyone, for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. It was well worth it. I got filled up from it. I appreciate your honesty and your transparency and your willingness to share your testimony. Again, we need more people standing up, speaking out, and sharing their testimonies of overcoming. And that's why we call this the Survivor Series, because Matt Mullings, you are a survivor. You are a role model. You're a rising voice for recovery in your community and across the country. You can see and hear, the blessings are very evident in your life. So I got much love and respect for you. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Survivor Series. We're gonna peace out on this one. Thanks, guys. Love y'all. Well.